Right now, the final day of the state Democratic convention. What's next for the party as it enters a new era of leadership? Also, an overnight shooting in Middleton leaves several cases behind. All that we know so far. And our Tenacious Shaw brings us the story of one Madison father and his journey to become one. That's all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. Breaking news now just into the newsroom. Multiple sources are confirming Vance Bolter, the man suspected in killing and wounding multiple Minnesota lawmakers, is in custody. Bolter has been on the run since Saturday morning after killing former Democratic House Speaker Melissa Hortman, along with her husband in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, a suburb just outside of Minneapolis. Bolter also shot and wounded Senator John Hoffman and his wife just 9 miles away from Hortman's home. We'll continue to keep you updated as we gather more information, both on air and online. Now let's go ahead and get a look at your first one forecast with the meteorologist Blaze Keller. Blaze, again, a rainy day for Father's Day, but what should we expect as we head into the work week?
More rain. We're going to continue to be dealing with these showers and thunderstorms and possibly getting some severe weather between Monday and Wednesday. All 3 days, we have some sort of severe weather outlook for southern Wisconsin. This evening, no severe weather is expected. We'll take it into parts of Dane County, Greene County, as well as Grant and Crawford counties, Iowa County too for that matter. Some general showers, light to moderate, taking it into the Belleville area. That's where we're seeing the heaviest shower activity, kind of moving their way into 151 Mount Horeb, as well as Fitchburg, going to be dealing with some of these showers, possibly moving into downtown Madison if they can hold together over the next hour or so. Marginal risk on Monday in the green. That means that we're expecting an isolated severe weather chance, and that continues into Tuesday as well. But more of the News 3 Now coverage area and Wisconsin, for that matter, underneath that isolated severe weather threat. So in the full forecast, we're going to take a look at future track for both days, time out when those storms may impact you, and then talk about what lies ahead once the rain finally does wrap up next week in the full forecast. All right, sounds good, Blaze. We'll see you in just a bit. Middleton police are investigating a shots fired incident from Sunday morning. Officers were called to the area of South Avenue and Maple Street just before 1:30 a.m. where residents reported hearing 6 gunshots in the area. Multiple expended casings were found laying in the intersection. A house nearby had a damaged window. Middleton police say one witness heard a car idling in the area beforehand, and they said it drove southwest on Maple Street after the gunshots. And one person is displaced following a fire on Madison's north side Saturday afternoon. The Madison Fire Department responded to a multi-unit complex on Maplewood Lane for smoke reported in the hallway. Crews arrived just after 3:30 to find smoke coming from the second floor. MFD reported knockdown was achieved just before 4 p.m. Paramedics evaluated and took one person in for minor fire-related injuries. Unfortunately, 2 cats died in the fire. The case and the cause of the fire is under investigation. The second day of the state Democratic convention is wrapping up, and it wrapped up just a few hours ago. And Wisconsin Democrats chose a new leader. Political reporter Will Keneally is there and has the details.
Democrats wrapped up their convention here in the Dells, electing a new state party chair. Now that's the figurehead that Democrats hope will lead them to success in the 2026 midterm elections. And Democrats announced on Sunday it will be Devin Remacher to take the helm of the state party. He previously managed the day-to-day operations as the party's executive director, and he received the endorsement of outgoing state party chair Ben Wickler.
I had a very clear sense of who I thought would do an outstanding job as the state party chair, and I owed it to the party and to the delegates to share what I'd seen.
We asked Remacher about his priorities in the new position.
I think we're going to roll up our sleeves and really make sure that we are capturing all the energy that is out there at this moment in time so that we can harness it and point it like a laser at all the elections we need to win in 2026.
Reporting in the Wisconsin Dells, Will Keneally, News 3 Now.
Prior to his arrest, authorities in Minnesota found a list of 70 names of targets Vance Bolter had, the man who was involved in the shooting of the Minnesota lawmakers. In those 70 names, 11 of those names had Wisconsin ties, and for that reason, they had increased security at the state Democratic convention. River Alliance of Wisconsin brings out boaters to cruise down Madison's Yahara River for the annual Fool's Flotilla. The floating parade takes attendees from Tenney Park to Yahara Place Park to join on the Marquette Neighborhood Association's Waterfront Festival. Boaters were treated to live music as they paddled down the river and were encouraged to wear costumes.
Got the pizza peel, hand out some pizza. Works out great. Everyone loves pizza.
You guys are real heroes, you know that?
Thank you. Heroes on the half shell.
Any non-motorized boats are welcome, from canoes and kayaks to creative handmade floats. Also this Father's Day down in Janesville, car enthusiasts celebrated automotive history at the 4th annual Father's Day Car Show. Hosted at the Rock County Historical Society campus, the event featured a wide array of makes and models. Dads and their families were able to check out cars that go back nearly 100 years. The event also highlights the work of the Janesville Assembly Plant, a GM-owned auto factory that operated nearly for 9 decades.
Something to do with Dad. You can bring your father out and, show the kids where Grandpa worked and show them what he built for a living and stuff like that. Yeah. It's a great time.
Proceeds from the event were donated to the Rock County Historical Society to help with future exhibits. A church on Madison's north side is having a celebration to show appreciation for our dads today. Our Tanisha Shaw is taking us to Cultivation Church, where a dad is using his fatherhood experience to speak today.
Your heart doesn't know how much love it can contain or the capacity for love until you hold your baby or your child for the first time, and you just realize that love, it grows exponentially with your kids.
Brandon Manglos is a father of 2. He's an ordained minister that doesn't preach often, but on Father's Day, he's guaranteed to be at the front of the pulpit.
I'm speaking today for Father's Day, which is a great honor for me.
His journey to fatherhood is unique and came with difficulty.
My wife and I couldn't have children, and we tried many times, and we lost one actually in process, which was very painful. And at that point, we decided to adopt. And so we adopted from Guatemala, first our daughter. Amazing little girl, just the cutest little thing. And then 5 years later, she wanted a baby brother in the worst way.
Manglo serves for the military, and deployment took away precious family time.
Being in the National Guard and being gone quite a bit, and a couple deployments and those things really stressed our family a little bit. And so at some times it makes the family unit stronger, but at other times it really challenges those relationships and causes growth in a different way.
Through it all, he says he's appreciative of his parenthood journey and is glad that he can be a dad not only to his 2 kids and his grandson, but the entire community.
Preaching on Father's Day is a great opportunity to share the responsibility we have as fathers to reflect God's love to people. And I think sometimes that's overlooked, and it's a great responsibility for me to be a father not only to my kids, but every kid I come in contact with.
Reporting in Madison, Tanisha Shaw, News 3 Now.
Tanisha, thank you. Cultivation Church is also hosted a barbecue for Father's Day earlier today. Coming up next on News 3 Now, Blaze returns with a complete look of your First One forecast. And we're following the situation in Southern California as tensions continue to rise between civilians and authorities during the recent protest. Plus, the president sends a message to Iran over their ongoing conflict with Israel. That and more after the break.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Thank you for staying with us. Tonight, rising tensions in Southern California as federal authorities conduct more immigration raids. It puts protesters on the streets and driven others underground. CBS's Elise Preston is in LA.
Tensions remain high as immigration agents make more arrests in Southern California, raising anxiety and anger. The raid sparking more than a week of daily protests in downtown LA. On Saturday, police used tear gas and rubber bullets to clear a large crowd near the federal building. Mayor Karen Bass says Los Angeles does not need the military.
They don't need to be here. Our local law enforcement have complete control of the situation.
The city of Los Angeles covers nearly 500 square miles with a population of almost 4 million. The protests have been mostly isolated to a few blocks downtown.
If this wasn't done, then we would have broken windows.
We met Don Tahara outside his bar in Little Tokyo. He and others have boarded up their businesses for safety, but are open and hoping for customers.
Why was it important for you to hang that sign?
We are a community of immigrants. Many businesses lost tons of business because the vandals.
How much business would you say you've lost?
Probably about 80%.
Tahara is hopeful his community will quickly get back to normal.
It's important that everybody go back to work and feel safe about going to work and being on the streets.
Elise Preston, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Certainly something to keep an eye on. Hackers have tried to break into the email accounts of select numbers of Washington Post journalists, according to an internal Washington Post memo. The Post discovered the possible targeted hack of its email system last Thursday, prompting the newspaper to reset login credentials for all of its employees on Friday. It was not immediately clear who was responsible for the hack. The Wall Street Journal had first reported it. The journal itself was the subject of a multiple-year hacking campaign by suspected Chinese hackers, which the paper discovered back in 2022. The espionage effort targeted journalists reporting on China-related issues. President Trump is warning Iran against retaliating on U.S. targets in the Middle East. Tonight, he's headed to Canada to meet with G7 leaders. CBS's Willie James Inman is at the White House and says the president has a very clear message.
With missiles flying between Israel and Iran, U.S. Marines and National Guardsmen deployed in Los Angeles, and nationwide protests capturing the attention of the nation, this has been one of the most tumultuous weeks of President Trump's second term. Today, the president posted that Israel and Iran should make a deal. We will have peace soon between Israel and Iran. Many calls and meetings now taking place, the president wrote. The president also warning the U.S. would respond with force if Iran attacks America in any way. Talks aimed at reducing tensions between the U.S. and Iran were canceled today. Chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee Tom Cotton believes the increased pressure on Iran will eventually lead to negotiations.
And he would like Iran to come back to the table. I think now that Iran sees that Israel and America means business and surrender its enrichment capabilities voluntarily. If that doesn't happen, though, I think these strikes are going to continue.
Every other country celebrates their victories. It's about time America did too.
This weekend, a show of force in the nation's capital, honoring the U.S. Army's 250th anniversary. But the event shared a split screen with massive protests across the country. Demonstrators gathering in opposition to the president's policies and his push to expand executive power.
President Trump will meet with G7 leaders in Kananaskis, Alberta, starting tomorrow. It's his first trip to Canada during his second term. It's a nation that the president says should be the 51st state, and that's something that the Prime Minister of Canada has rejected. Willie James Inman, CBS News, the White House.
Willie James, thank you. Let's go ahead and get a look at your first warn forecast with meteorologist Blaze Keller. Blaze, what should we expect?
We're going to continue to track the chance for showers and thunderstorms pretty much through the first half of the upcoming work week. Monday through Wednesday, we have daily chances for severe weather, not anticipating outbreaks, not anticipating a widespread event. This is going to be isolated chances as we move over the next couple of days. And then once this is all said and done, we're going to be warming up possibly into the 90s by next weekend. So we have that marginal risk for severe weather on Monday. Again, a marginal risk, the green is an isolated chance. Not everybody will see these severe thunderstorms as they move out of the northwest later Monday afternoon into the evening hours. Overnight activity may be sticking around into the morning hours on Monday, so plan for a somewhat wet commute. But those will start to break apart as we go into the late morning, and by the early afternoon, we're sitting underneath partly sunny conditions. Winds are going to be out of the south, so we're going to get the atmosphere a little bit ready for possibly the severe weather, not only Monday, but into Tuesday and further into Wednesday as well. Storms likely will develop off into parts of Minnesota, and then they're going to move their way quickly into parts of our neck of the woods, bringing strong winds as well as some large hail and possibly some heavy rain as well. We can't rule out an isolated tornado, but strong winds and hail, then followed by the heavy rains, and then the isolated tornado threat is kind of how these threats are ranking. Then we turn to Tuesday. We're going to watch as we sit underneath, yet again, a marginal, so isolated threat for severe weather. A low pressure system is going to develop out into the central plains and then move its way northwards. We're going to be watching where its warm front settles, because that's where we're going to watch as showers and thunderstorms develop as we head into the late afternoon, early evening. If that warm front can make its way further north into Wisconsin, it's going to bring not only the shower activity, but a little bit more energy for these storms to potentially use to become severe. Once again, bringing strong winds and large hail and heavy rains as the main threat. We quiet down for the most part overnight Tuesday, and then we get ready for Wednesday. We've been talking about this, and we're still keeping Wednesday as an alert day. We could possibly add Tuesday as well, because here's yet another round of showers and thunderstorms. Once again, some of these could be severe, with strong winds and hail being the main threat. While that severe weather possibility has been pushed into extreme southeastern parts of Kenosha County, I could see a severe thunderstorm or two developing maybe in parts of Dodge, Jefferson, as well as Rock County or Walworth County, and then pushing their way south and eastward. So we're going to keep the alert day on Wednesday. We're also going to potentially add it into Tuesday, specifically Tuesday night into Wednesday as well. So here's a breakdown of kind of how the threats are looking over the next couple of days. And there's some very heavy rain in the forecast. If the graphic wants to load, some of us could pick up anywhere between 1 to 2 inches of rain, which is in the blue and the purple there. So we're in for a wet couple of days here as we start off next week. 80s tomorrow, better chance for showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon further north and west. There's a look at that 7 and 10 day forecast. After we dry on out by later Thursday into Friday, we're climbing into the upper 80s to low 90s, feeling like summer by next weekend.
Yeah, we were talking, off camera just a little bit ago. Next weekend, we may have to break the grill out in, News 3 Now parking lot.
Our little chef, Jalen Banks.
Just a little flip of the burger. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. See, he was ready for it.
I'm already hungry. So
already?
You've already committed.
I got to make it up for you since the steak incident.
Yeah, it's still too soon.
Yeah, all right. We won't talk about it. But all right, speaking of flipping, hopefully we saw some bat flipping this afternoon as Milwaukee was back on the diamond today.
Yeah, some Father's Day bat flips. We've got that in order. Coming up in sports, the most unlikely winner of the U.S. Open through the rain, plus the Brewers highlights. We show you all that next on News 3 Now. There's just something about putting up big performances for his parents that is in Christian Yelich's nature. On Mother's Day, he hit a home run with a bat that had his mom's name inscribed into it. And today on Father's Day, the Brewer superstar put one out of the yard for Pops. Trailing 1-0 in the fourth, Yelich hits a homer the other way to draw things even at 1 apiece. And later in the frame, after that Father's Day gift, with runners on first and second, the young guy, Drew Avens, drives one deep enough to score Reese Hoskins on a sacrifice fly, giving the Brew Crew a lead they would never give back. Milwaukee wins the series finale 3-2 and the series, and tomorrow they'll get a much-needed day off. Heading up to Wausau, where the Madison Nightmares try to keep their perfect 3-0 record alive. Tied at 2 in the third, and Reagan Bennett blasts a 3-run homer to put the Nightmares ahead. This one was a barn burner. Hillary Blomberg also boomed her 4th homer in the team's 4th game of the year. Hot start for her, but the team's dream start to the season came to an end by the game's end as Wausau comes back to win a thriller. 9-8 the final score. To the Duck Pond, where the Mallards continued a dream start to their season, beating Lakeshore 8-1 and improving to 12-6 on the season, moving in to first place. The Packers have a lot of depth at the wide receiver position, but in free agency, they addressed a different problem in that room: experience. That's why they went out and signed a 2-time Super Bowl champion in McCole Hardman, and the speedster who won 2 titles with the Chiefs and caught the game-winning touchdown for Kansas City in the Super Bowl in 2023. Well, for him, the decision was simple. He loves the quarterback in Green Bay.
Jordan, he's an awesome guy, on and off the field. I think he's one of those guys that's going to, be one of the, best quarterbacks in the league for time to come. I think he can get better every day, and as players, we learn different things. And I think that he's taking that next step, just from, outside looking in and not actually being, on the same team with him. I think he's taking that role of being that leader and, leading this team to the best of his ability.
To the golf links we go, where the U.S. Open ended in one of the most unlikely fashions. J.J. Spahn, a 34-year-old who had won just one PGA Tour event in his career and had never even finished top 20 in a major, wins the U.S. Open of all events. Your winner at Oakmont of the 125th U.S. Open is J.J. Spahn, who hit the longest putt of the entire weekend to walk it off as a winner. And that is why sports are so spectacular. At 34 years old, you played this game for all this time. You could have hung it up 10 years ago and been one of the best, 1% of golfers maybe ever. And here he is 10 years later winning a major. That's pretty remarkable.
And it's just always a reminder that pros are pros for a reason. And I'm happy that at this stage of his career, he was finally able to get one. Just imagine the stories he'll be able to tell his kids and the generations to come.
Absolutely, and I say 1% of golfers ever. You think about everybody that's at a golf club. You do that at that level, you only need to do it a few times to be right there. Yeah. So to continue it that long, that's how pros really become pros. And man, what a day for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, sounds good, Andrew. A final check of your first warm forecast is coming up when we return. At the box office this weekend, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning fell from third to fourth place, bringing in $10.3 million. The rom-com The Materialist came in third with just over $12 million, and after 3 weekends on top, Lilo & Stitch dropped out of first place into second, earning $15.5 million at the box office. And the new #1 movie in North America is How to Train Your Dragon. The live-action meets CGI remake of Universal's popular animated film Sword, with earning $83.7 million for their debut. Could you imagine earning $15 million as being like
bad?
Fourth place for the weekend. Give me $15 million just this one time. And
it doesn't even need to be over the course of a weekend. We'll take it over the course of a year, 10 years, you name it.
You never hear from me again. Yeah. I'd be somewhere else.
I'd be square dancing my way to the sunshine.
There we go.
In San Diego, probably.
Yeah, honestly.
Real quick, a check of the weather before we head on out.
We're looking at some morning activity, showers, and maybe a rumble of thunder. Then we dry out, climb into the 80s with another chance for showers and thunderstorms into the evening and overnight. We're going to have an isolated chance for severe weather Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. We may issue an alert day for Tuesday, especially Tuesday night into Wednesday, when we could once again see showers and thunderstorms. Then we're back into the 90s once everything dries on out by the upcoming weekend.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Blaze, and thank you, Andrew. And thank you all for joining us. Seinfeld is up next. We'll see you back here for News 3 Now this morning.